Afambo Chief Dr. Sir Bob Manuel Udoku Zana Bakli Ogidi Negeno Ebonadi FM 103.5 Ogidi.
Ebonadi FM 103 Baganya Enyanyi Yani Najoka Inuma Aginti Bobo Ineme Madobi Uta Uko Ibo na entertainment Women
Angels.
Mama Kose Blue Agwaptalma. Ekene ma register na Brazil sebru anonyeli edengos next tip oronine oja singles one forgive Jesus.
So guys, like, subscribe and share.
Naju odibo wani ko sebruwa. Ekene Maria Egypt na Brazil o sebru anonyeli edengos next tip oronine oja singles one forgive Jesus.
Maria de son nenkechubu yabana ndinda yo kita mama na wani
Okwe melaro
obebile lani
Ekene Maria Egypt na Brazil o sebru anonyeli edengos next tip oronine oja singles one forgive Jesus.
Maria de son nenkechubu yabana ndinda yo kita mama na wani amen
Yabala anya yo only nke Chukwu jaso ayiyo anyị na-arịọ gị o Chukwu kerie Graịsa n'ime obi anyị ka anyị bụ ndị anyị jepụtara ozi ọma wee mara iwere arụ Kristi nwa gị site n'afọ ya nụ ya wee bata n'otito na mbilite n'ọnwụ ya site na Kristi dị mere anyị amen. Otito dịrị Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ Otito dịrị Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ ndị na-ekwere gara aga abụrụ obi fa zuru ike na ndokwa
amen.
Onye nwe anyị nọnyere ụlọ ka Chineke ji ike niile gọzie ụlọ Nna na Nwa na Mmụọ Nsọ.
Ekpere abịala site na nkwado ndị Love Bite Foods and Beverages Limited na-alụpụta Love Bite Bread nọ na nọmba 1 Nwosu Mmadụka Close Umuru Nnobi 081 4982 8254.
Listen to news updates on Ebonadi 103. Immediately after Angelus, 6 o'clock a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. weekdays. Stay tuned to be updated, to be informed. News updates, live reports. Ebonadi FM breaks the news with actualities.
I believe that if we are looking for a new Nigeria,
you can as well listen online via mixlr.com/GistFM.
Good evening and welcome to Ebona, the 103.5 FM news update. Today, Friday, the 17th day of March, 2023. Is 3 minutes past the hour of 6. Martin Ifanshuku Ekeze is my name. The headlines. Youths protest as vigilante shoots man dead in Anambra. Delta Police nabbed 27-year-old suspect in army camouflage uniform. MFLA urges more vigilance in banking supervision after collapse of 2 U.S. institutions. Abuja Chamber of Commerce seeks solutions to high inflation rate. Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria closes runways at Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Yellen says Chinese customers of failed Silicon Valley Bank will get money from U.S. fund. Now, details. Youths protest as vigilante shoots man dead in Anambra. A member of the vigilante operatives has allegedly shot a yet-to-be-identified man dead in Ogidi, Idemili North local government area of Anambra State. It was gathered that the deceased wife just delivered a baby, and while he was preparing to go and visit his wife and the newborn in the hospital, a bullet hit him after a suspect pursued by the security agents, ran into his compound. An eyewitness said the vigilante operatives were on the trail of a fleeing cultist, popularly known as China, who was also said to be a notorious criminal. The incident generated a series of protests in the area on Thursday as youths of the community took the cops to the local government headquarters, demanding to see the local government chairman. They blocked the entrance to the local government with the cops, insisting they must see the chairman. A source in the area who spoke to journalists on the condition of anonymity for fear of harassment said an innocent man was shot dead this morning. The security operatives were looking for occultists who ran into the deceased compound. The man just woke up and they were about to pray, but he excused himself to urinate outside, and the next thing was a gunshot. We heard the security operatives were claiming they thought it was the man they were chasing that they shot. The dead man didn't even know someone ran into his compound. He just came out to urinate before going back to join his family members for the morning prayers. He had also planned on going to see the wife who put to bed early this morning. He had not even seen his newborn child. He himself, an only son too. It was gathered that the protesting youths were barred from gaining entrance into the local council secretariat as soldiers blocked the gate immediately, stopping everyone from entering. Confirming the incident, the state police spokesman, DSP Tochukwu Ikenga, said law and order have been restored by the police. The deputy commissioner of police in charge of operations led operatives to the Ogidi community following a protest by the community members alleging a member of the vigilantes shot one of the indigenous in the community. Meanwhile, law and order have been restored in the area and the suspects have been arrested with the arm recovered. Further details shall be communicated. Please, Ikenga added. Further details shall be communicated. Please, Ikenga added. Delta Police nabbed 27-year-old suspect in army camouflage uniform. Delta State Police Command has arrested 27-year-old Mike Oko in army camouflage uniform while planning to cause mayhem in the state. The command's spokesperson, Deputy Superintendent of Police, DSP, Bright Edafe, who confirmed the arrest yesterday in Asaba, said the police received information about a syndicate that disguised a military personnel to deceive their suspecting victims. According to Edafe, following the information, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Ari Muhammad Ali, detailed a combined team from the Department of Operations Cobra 11, which comprised operatives from Response Squad, Radar Squad, and Operations Department to wade into the matter. He stated that operatives indeed waded in on Sunday and stormed their hideout around Okwe axis in Asaba, Oshimili South Council, where Mike Okon and Wilson Sunday, male, 24 years, both from Cross River State, were arrested. Edafe said the suspects were found with army camouflage uniforms, a pair of black jungle boots, 3 green berets, and 1 black beret. He also confirmed that operatives of Eagle Net Special Squad had arrested a 26-year-old Ahmed Umaru, a tricycle rider while others escaped in the bush. Edafe said the police attached to intensive adhering system of patrol cited a tricycle marked RRU 773 QK containing 3 male occupants and intercepted and subjected them to a search, during which a bag containing rice was thoroughly searched and 3 locally made guns. 1 life cat to their heels and escaped into the bush, abandoning the tricycle rider Ahmed Umar, who hails from Ayigba Council of Kogi State. The tricycle rider was immediately arrested, but we are after the fleeing suspects, he said. Emefiele urges more vigilance in banking supervision after collapse of 2 U.S. institutions. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has advised central banks and regulators across the world to be vigilant and guard against failures of financial institutions in their jurisdictions. The advice followed the closure of New York-based Signature Bank on Sunday by regulators, 2 days after they shut down Silicon Valley Bank in a collapse that stranded billions in deposit. Owing to this, Emefiele, who spoke at the opening of the 2023 African Central Bank Conference held at the Global Leadership Center, Johannesburg, South Africa, yesterday, also advised governors of central banks and other African financial sectors regulators to improve their supervisory roles to forestall any run on financial institutions in their country. Speaking further, he hinted that Nigeria was expected to receive a $400 million inflow from Standard Bank by the end of this week, which, according to Emefiele, will help boost our funding and financing needs in Nigeria. Commenting further on the current global dynamics and specific policy developments in Nigeria to address emerging shocks. He advised central banks on the continent to draw lessons from the recent failure of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank in the United States of America by putting in place regulations that will prevent any run on banks in their countries. A major reason that contributes to bank failures is when the bank is unable to meet depositors' demand for their money. This usually results to a run. There is need for regulators to insulate the banking system from collapse, he added. He noted the devastation to lives and livelihoods that was caused by the COVID-19 globally. And after COVID-19, we started seeing economies develop again. The numbers were good and financial markets better, and suddenly in 2022, another crisis came, the war between Russia and Ukraine that has unfortunately created for the global economy. All the forecasts made by IMF and World Bank have begun to go south, and inflationary pressure began to climb, Emefiele added. Emefiele told his audience that regulators must be prepared for what I call the rainy day. What umbrella have you built to ensure that depositors don't face the risk of losing their deposits? That should be a lesson to regulators globally. Abuja Chamber of Commerce seeks solutions to high inflation rate. This has complicated the business climate and deepened the challenges facing small-scale businesses. The Abuja Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ACCI, has appealed to the federal government to address the fundamental causes of rising inflation rates. The president of ACCI, Dr. Al-Mushaba Abubakar, made the appeal in a statement on Thursday in Abuja. He urged the federal government to create a more positive business climate in the country. Mr. Abubakar expressed concern that in spite of government efforts, the inflation rate was on the increase. According to the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) in February, the headline inflation rate rose to 21.91% compared to January 2023 headline inflation rate, which was 21.82%. It showed an increase of 0.09 percentage points when compared to January headline inflation rate. While we appreciate the efforts of the administration to tame the increasing inflation rate, we note that the situation was far from improving. The increase can be attributed mainly to the fuel scarcity being experienced in the country, where many resolve to buy at black market rates. He said that the price per liter of petrol goes for between 400 naira and 700 naira, depending on where you are buying from. This occurrence tends to have negative effect on businesses as fuel and diesel are the major sources of in businesses. This invariably leads to the spike in the cost of production, coupled with logistics issues that has been compounded by insecurity, Mr. Abubakar said. The government should implement business-friendly policies, unlike the cash swap policy that negatively affected businesses, especially the micro, small, and medium enterprises (MSMEs), he said. Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria closes runways at Murtala Muhammed International Airport. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAN) announced on March 13th the closure of runway 18R/36L at Lagos Murtala Muhammed International Airport (LOS) for maintenance. Runway 18R/36L will be closed for a period of 8 weeks to undergo maintenance, while runway 18L/36R will remain open to full flight operations. FAAN is requesting the understanding and cooperation of all stakeholders toward achieving this fundamental safety objective. Murtala Muhammed International Airport is Nigeria's biggest and busiest airport, located in the capital of Lagos. It is a hub for many Nigerian airlines, including Aero Contractors, Arik Air, Azman Air, Air Peace, and Ibom Air. Last year, over 16 million passengers flew in and out of Nigerian airports. In 2018, Murtala Muhammed handled a record 7.3 million passengers, but that number dropped in the following years due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Flights leaving the airport fly to many important destinations, including Addis Ababa, Bole International (ADD), Abuja Nnamdi Azikiwe International (ABV), Dubai International (DXB), and London Heathrow International (LHR). The airport also serves the entire state. With a busy domestic terminal, it is central to the operations of all domestic carriers. Hence, daily operations begins and end in Lagos for most aircraft. The following 2 months will be critical for its daily operations as a the closure of Lagos Airway will most probably affect the flow of traffic and airline schedules. Aviation experts have said that the maintenance will increase airlines' costs as they will burn more fuel and cause passengers delays. Speaking to newsmen, an engineer with the International Aviation College, Ahmadu Hadi, said all takeoffs and landings will be conducted on the alternative runway. A notice to airmen, not traffic controllers, and other necessary stakeholders in the sector for safety, Engineer Ahmadu Hadi said to newsmen. And now we move over to the foreign scene. Yellen says Chinese customers of failed Silicon Valley Bank will get money from US fund. Uninsured Chinese depositors in the failed Silicon Valley Bank likely will be made whole through the special assessment on US banks that is funding the rescue crafted by the Biden administration. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told lawmakers Thursday. Her comments came as some of the nation's biggest banks team up to rescue another beloved Californian lender, First Republic Bank, providing it with $30 billion in deposits. The government's emergency intervention in SVB last week was criticized by several members of the Senate Finance Committee, including Senator James Lankford, Oklahoma Republican, who pressed Miss Helen on whether community banks in his state will be reimbursing Chinese citizens and companies that held accounts at the Californian bank. Mr. Lankford cited public reporting that some Chinese investors in SVP have ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Will my banks in Oklahoma pay a special assessment to be able to make Chinese investors whole from Silicon Valley Bank? He asked. Ms. Helen replied, uninsured investors will be made whole in the bank. I suppose that could include foreign depositors, but I don't believe there's any legal basis to discriminate among the uninsured. With evident sarcasm, Mr. Lackford noted that administration has promised that US taxpayers won't pay for the bank bailout. I'm sure my banks are going to be very excited to know they are no longer paying taxes and their banks no longer pay taxes, he said. All banks made their revenue off rates and fees and such to their account holders, which means every Oklahoman will pay higher fees in their community banks. Ms. Helen retorted, if we had a collapse of banking system and its economic consequences, that will have very severe effects on banks in Oklahoma that will also be threatened. She said it would be up to Federal Deposit Insurance Corp to determine which bank pay special assessment to the Federal Deposit Insurance Fund. Regulators closed SVP last Friday after depositors tried to withdraw $42 billion in one day, carrying financial ground. The bank, which catered to high-tech firms and venture capitalists, was the 16th largest in the US. This is where we draw the news update on Ebonade 103.5 FM. But before we leave, a quick look at the headlines. Youths protest as vigilante shoots man dead in Anambra. Delta police nabbed 27-year-old suspect in army camouflage uniform. MFLA urges more vigilance in banking supervision after collapse of two U.S. institutions. Abuja Chamber of Commerce seeks solution to high inflation rate. Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria closes runways at Murtala Mohammed International Airport. Yellen says Chinese customers of failed Silicon Valley Bank will get more money from U.S. fund. You just listened to news update on Ebonade 103.5 FM. News produced and read by Martin Ifeanyi Ekezie. Thank you for listening. Once again, good evening. So thanks, guys. Thank you. Like, subscribe, and share.
Thank you. 103.5 FM immediately after Angelus, 6 o'clock a.m. and 6 o'clock